Are you looking to start from scratch or kickstart your brand's social media presence? Well, in this video, I'm going to lay out how you can develop a successful social media strategy to do just that. Hello and welcome. My name is Eddie Garrison. I help brands just like yours grow their digital presence by utilizing the power of social media with real-world strategy, design, and results. I'll show you how to take your brand's digital presence to the next level with actionable tips, strategies, and tactics you can start using today. Embarking off on any new endeavor, it's important to begin the journey with the proper equipment, resources, knowledge, and of course, roadmap for success. Setting your overall goals with a social media marketing strategy can't be done without the same. In this video, I'm going to show you how to successfully plan your brand's social media strategy. We're going to begin with your brand's already present mission statement and core values. In those lie everything your brand stands for and is working towards as a business overall. We're going to take stock of your current position and performance currently on social media that's going to allow you to look back at what you've already accomplished. Also, where you've seen success and where you're actually lacking in some areas, helping you better set goals to produce improved results. Here you'll find some things that worked well for your brand and others that, well, maybe didn't work out so great. But don't worry, this is completely fine and obviously understandable when it comes to social media. Many brands have found the same thing and your brand will not be the last. Take it as just lessons learned and just move on. Remember, a better acronym for the word FAIL is actually First Attempt in Learning. When you look at identifying setting your goals, I'm sure most brands will come up with a few goals that directly affect their brand. However, there's also a few goals that relate to pretty much every brand when they apply to social media marketing and setting up a strategy. Those goals are typically going to be generate and or identify new revenue, expand your brand awareness, identify new customers for your brand, or retain current customers that you already have. It may be best for your brand to only choose two of these goals as not to overthink your strategy in the beginning and get overwhelmed. This could lead to confusion and overall causing you to fall short of what you set out to accomplish. Plus, you can always revisit this section of the video at a later date, especially if something you identify the first go-around doesn't pan out as expected. I honestly recommend using this video as a guideline or a reference guide that can be revisited at any time. No brand has ever figured out social media marketing on the first attempt. Obviously, your brand will not be any different. Your social media marketing strategy is no different than any other facet of your marketing efforts. It will just continue to evolve. It almost becomes a living, breathing creature of its own that joins a symbiotic relationship with the rest of your brand's marketing efforts and overall goals. So lesson learned, just let it evolve. If one of your goals is anything brand-related, such as expanding brand awareness or reaching a new demographic, then your goals may revolve around one of the following: proper content creation, overall outreach, target audience identification, or boosted content and or Facebook ads. Secondly, a lot of businesses hope to utilize social media as an additional avenue to better generate new revenue for their brand. Setting revenue-based goals, you may want to focus on how to better increase the following: your website inbound traffic, your physical location foot traffic, or increased audience engagement and or relieving a pain point. Once your brand has identified what goals you'll be focusing on moving forward involving your social media strategy, make sure to have them readily available to your entire team. Having your goals posted in a highly visible location in your office or available at the click of a mouse will really help drive the entire effort forward. Studies have actually shown that by sharing your goals with your entire team, it not only provides more accountability, it also feels the need for a social connection in your workplace. Not only that, publicly sharing your goals and progress can actually help motivate your team to better accomplish those goals for your brand. Having now set your social media marketing goals, they're pretty useless to your brand without first setting objectives and parameters to help you navigate through this wild ride of social media marketing to reach those goals. You put all this time, energy, resources, and man hours into identifying your brand's social media marketing goals. Now you need to extend that same effort to setting your objectives to help you reach those goals. Let's check out an example. If one of your brand's goals is to generate additional revenue for your business utilizing social media, what are the number of leads, sales, new customers, etc. you need to generate to consider this goal a success? These objectives are what will guide your brand from point A, a set goal, to point B, an achieved goal. Simply picking some ridiculous number off the top of your head will no more help you reach the goals you identified than really just not having them at all. To better help you define your objectives, you need to utilize the SMART system to better help you identify those objectives, making them one of the following: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. With established goals and objectives, who is actually going to help you achieve those? This is going to be your target audience. To better help identify who your target audience actually are, I suggest creating a user profile that will help your brand better identify and target the correct users on social media. This user profile should include categories like background, basic information and details on your ideal consumer, demographics, age range, gender, income, location, do they live in the city or the suburbs, any unique identifiers, and social media accounts and keywords. Be as specific as possible when identifying your target audience. The more specific you are at identifying your target audience, the better engagement you'll have through your social media marketing efforts to better promote your brand. You can utilize social media insights to better help you determine who your audience currently is on each of your social media channels. But for now, let's focus on who you believe your target audience is or will end up being by utilizing this user profile. The reason I suggest utilizing a user profile is to better help you determine who your target audience actually is. Most brands believe they already know who they want to target. But in most cases, that thought process actually ends up changing when they do their research utilizing their user profile. It's amazing to see who you should actually be targeting rather than just thinking you know who you should target. When your user profile is on paper or in a document that you can see after doing your in-depth research, mind frames change, and that's when you start to understand where you may have actually been targeting the wrong users on social media all along. Targeting the correct users on social media can mean the difference in your brand being able to leverage the power of social media to reach a much broader audience, increase brand awareness, and increase your revenue. Or just keep plugging along with what you've been doing, spinning your tires and wondering why this social media deal isn't working and maybe we should just abandon it altogether. Just as in any other traditional marketing practices or business plans in general, there is a science and a formula to better help you identify everything that needs to be done for an overall success. The old saying of keep your friends close and your enemies closer works in the social media world as well. Checking in on your competition will help you see what's working in your industry, as well as keeping tabs on what your competitors are doing, which is never a bad thing. I suggest putting together a list of around 5 brands that are your direct competitors and compile data like these. What social media networks are they currently utilizing? What is their follower count on each of their social media channels? How often do they post content to their social media outlets? What time of day do they post content? What days do they post content the most of? What type of content was successful? Are they engaging their audience? And are they responding to all of their reviews, both good reviews and the bad reviews? You'll also want to make note of what type of content they're actually posting to their social media outlets. Is it all business? Is it humorous? How much is sales driven? And are they engaging with their audience? Although page bins are technically the only ones that can see the actual analytics of social media accounts, you can use a simple formula to help better determine how their engagement rate is performing. Take a look at their last 30 posts and use the following formula. The total number of engagement activities such as likes, emotions, comments, and shares, and divide that by the total number of fans or followers they have. So as an example, if they had 400 engagement activities and they have 4,000 followers, you divide those two numbers and come up with a 5% engagement rate. Anything above a 4% engagement rate is a good guideline that their content is engaging their target audience with success. Now that you have a good benchmark of your direct competitors, take an objective look at your own brand's social media practices through the same process you use to evaluate your competition. Record this information just like you would with your competitors and use this as your baseline to compare your brand with the competition. Now that you have all this data compiled, it's time to start putting it to good use. Take a look at where your brand is missing the benchmark compared to your competition. Review your notes to see how they're performing better in those specific areas and start to assemble ideas and strategies that you can implement to improve in those areas. Next, determine what specific steps your brand will take to improve in those specific areas. Your best bet will be to break these down into monthly and quarterly goals that will be segregated out within your brand's team into specific weekly and daily tasks. When you're complete with your competitive analysis, your brand should be able to answer the following questions. What social media marketing improvements does our brand need to make? What goals do we need to set to improve our social media presence? How do we change our overall strategy to reach those goals? What internal changes do we need to make to put those into action? What areas, applications, softwares, and processes are needed to be updated to help us reach those goals? Once the first month and/or quarter of analyzing your changes is up, step back and reassess how these new changes to your social media marketing are performing for your brand. Utilizing all that data you've compiled from the prior analysis, go back and review your overall goals. Have they been effective? Are there any specific areas you missed completely or that you can improve on even more? And are there any areas that you're doing really well now that your brand can actually expand on? Overall, what worked and what is either lacking or did you just totally miss the mark? Compare this new data to your first benchmark assessment of your brand compared to competitors to see if you're catching up and growing your brand's social media presence. Determine if your brand indeed is growing compared to your competitors by answering the following questions. How is your competitor's social media performing since your last analysis? Have they made any changes to specific areas? Is what they're doing well currently the same as from your last analysis? And pay close attention to any major growth on a single social media platform or noticeable changes in content. It could be a signal to your brand that it's now time to invest on another social media channel you were previously unsure of committing to. It's always a good idea to go back over your company's progress against your competitors who you were comparing your brand to, along with any newly discovered competitors. Those new brands could be pulling away some of the target audience from both your brand and other competitors. Remember, these competitive analyses are not 100% accurate on how other brands are actually performing on social media. It will, however, provide you with a better understanding of how your brand's social media compares to the competition. They will help you determine what your target audience engages with on social media and help better develop strategies to separate your brand from the competition while growing your social media presence. This competitive analysis data is merely a guide in your overall social media marketing strategy, not a formula for overnight success. Creating a carbon copy of your competitor's look and style of content takes away from your brand's unique perspective, story, and direction with your target audience. Use these as a jumping off point for creative insights, new strategies, and campaigns that will differentiate your brand from the competition.